Okay.
Hi, everybody. It's Linda G, and I'm here today with Ness. Hi, Ness.
Hi, Linda. Oh my goodness, such interesting
I
times we're in.
know. Well, you're going into April. I did a show today with Mel, and you and I just had a slight discussion about what we're going to talk about, and it
Yeah.
matches what I'm seeing. So,
Yes, folks, we're going to talk about April predictions. I'm going to bring my astrology. Linda will throw cards and bring her psychic hits, but we're just looking at the 30 days of April. And folks, I want to say April, buckle up. April is rocket fuel. April will feel very quickly, like things are moving very quickly. It's going to be a pivotal moment for the war. We're going to have enter a new threshold of what that means, a new stage, whether it's an exit. I don't think it's an exit. I think we're going to become more intensified. But on an individual level, just you and me, Linda, we're going to feel like April is the time will feel very different. It will feel like it's moving very quickly. You know, in January, how we had Renee Good was unalived, and 10 days later, Alex Pritter was unalived, and we were like, oh my gosh, where are we? How is this all
what is
happening?
going on?
What
Yeah.
is going on? That's kind of the vibe of April. It's going to be a lot of things that are moving. So, folks, we're going to get into that. And then I'm also going to do a little sample of a personal reading for everyone at the end. So, folks, stay for that. We're going to do a paradigm shift reading for you. It's kind of like a pick a card. So, you'll be able to see based on your rising sign. But talking about this war that we're in. I know you had your show with Mel. I wanted to bring up one thing. I brought it up with Linda just a couple minutes ago, and I want to bring it with y'all, audience. Is the numbers of this war. So, folks, I don't know if you're familiar with Iran has drones. They're using this war of attrition. They're using drones to fight, which is, I mean, this is modern war. It's not
That's how
bombs.
Zelensky's making it happen.
Yeah, he's apparently he's pitching his technology. You know, there's people saying that it might not be 100% though, but he's making money from this to fund
Oh,
his.
yeah. Saudi Arabia and all those Middle Eastern places are so impressed by him, and he's making them drones
Hmm. He
and
went there
teaching
and
them how
pitched.
to use it. And they're
Yes.
like, you. There was some guy with his arm around. He's just a wee thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, they're not impressed with the United States anymore.
Yeah, no, it's very smart though because he needs the money. He needs the money. You know, in some places in Ukraine, they have nets in the town. They have these like 20-foot poles and they just put net all over the town so the drones won't get in. So it's like I know, it's a modern warfare. Like, are we gonna have nets in our town one day in the future? Like
I'm
that's
not seeing that, but
okay, okay, good. So the numbers, folks, though, I was sharing this with Linda and she was surprised by it, is Iran has drones and each of their drones cost $20,000 to make. But Iran makes 400 drones a day. Four in their little underground mountain factories, they make 400 drones a day. They can make about 10,000 drones a month. And one of these 20,000, dollar drones, the Israel and the US on their, military bases fire a $4 million interceptor missile. Do you see the numbers? Like this alone can tell you who's going to win this war.
yeah.
This is like that's all the numbers I need to know. But when you and I chatted last month, when we talked about the ground troops, we both didn't see the ground troops. But now
No.
I think he basically relocated 10,000 troops.
Well,
Um,
and she didn't even know. If you guys go on the social media, Iran is releasing photographs of a whole bunch of military special ops that they took prisoner. Right now, they're on a boat going somewhere, and they're all guys with their hands around their necks. Some guys are like crying,
yeah,
and like, why the hell am I here? Uh,
that's not on the news.
you don't mess. And I know people tried to tell Trump,
Yeah.
don't mess with Iran. And let me tell you, even after this war ends, or allegedly ends, Trump's family will always have to look behind their back because they will be followed and taken care of. I'm telling you. And Netanyahu, all of them, all those ones that directed, they're not holding a grudge to military. as much as they are to the higher ups.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
unfortunately, when I did a reading with Mel,
Hmm.
I actually see probably some sort of sneaky boots on the ground where they don't tell us. And I
Oh,
see
Trump.
I see a wipeout.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I ran posting the pictures,
Yeah.
and that's when America is so, these are their sons, daughters, wives, husbands. And it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
oops.
okay, because when you and I checked last month, I said no troops because, and a lot of it is not woo, it's illogical. It is
But
illogical.
what about Trump is logical?
I know, I know. It's because
He's not
the
listening to
yeah,
his generals unless it's a general that says you're working on behalf of Jesus Christ.
yeah. No, I come from a military family, many generations. I think it's like 7 generations in the military. But we don't call it military. It was like it was called like Saint Soldier back in the day. But there is a reverence for that occupation of protecting and being trained, but a righteous war. That was a big part of my background, is they were only fighting wars that were righteous. Otherwise, they're a bully in terms of the ideology. And so it's very sad to hear that that might unfold, Linda, because
I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm praying very hard it
you
doesn't.
know,
But I think this is the final. Because remember years ago when I was reading on Trump, and I said he'd probably start a fake war.
yeah,
And I kept saying, if blood is spilt, it's the end of him. And that's what I'm seeing. Blood is spilt. No, what's it say? Epstein couldn't take him out,
hmm
but this
hmm
will.
yeah, it's I'm surprised the GOP is what's that Lindsey Graham, he's just jumping up and down for
He's over in Disneyland right now.
oh
Yeah,
interesting.
isn't that nice?
Oh, that is nice. That's he should just
If
be on
I
the
was
front
up
of that.
behind him right now, I'd grab his underwear and give him a wedgie for it to go straight up into his throat.
I could see you doing it too. I would throw tomatoes. I would throw my Disneyland tomato, $10 tomato at him. Oh my, he kind of signed some sort of pact with the devil. That's kind of that one is
He's
just
really, I think he's an alcoholic too.
okay. Well,
And he's
it's
gay, he's a closeted gay. Absolutely nothing wrong with
nothing.
being
I know,
gay,
but that's that
but
generation.
he's from the old school.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that it's okay now, but it's not for them because they're
Well,
from
also,
a
he
different.
likes the younger ones like Trump.
Okay. Oh,
So,
oh, oh. Okay. Well, that's not okay. That's
yeah.
very, very,
Not
so
as young as Trump, but the young menses.
the younger, okay, just younger people, youth. But it's interesting though because I actually had a hit that I feel, and I'm a baby intuitive, nowhere anywhere near Linda is, but I feel something in about 3 or 6 weeks feels acute. It feels like, when you're
Boom.
walk, yeah, it feels like you're walking, you sort of step on a piece of glass or you just step on a nail. You're like, ooh, what was
And a
that?
boom. Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, in about 3 or 6 weeks, that's what it
That might
feels
be what
like.
happens when he slides those people in without telling anyone like he does. He's going to go over the line.
He's gonna go over the
And
line.
then even his own people can't back him up on this.
No. In a weird way, do you think they're doing that on purpose? Do you
Who?
think that the people around him are deliberately getting him to cross a line so then they're like, I'm not with him? Like, it feels like the people around him are giving him bad
I see the
advice.
people around him are GI Joes, like
Oh,
like dumbass.
okay. They will.
I feel in the guide you're working on Christ's behalf because Christ works through Trump. I feel they're all GI Joes because in the military there's a lot of people that are pro. Let's burn them down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah. Even the Pope this past weekend, he came out and said Jesus Christ was not about wars. Don't invoke his name for wars. And it's so interesting. This is on the heels of Easter. This we had Ramadan, we had Passover, and it's just such an interesting juxtaposition of
Such a religious month. Yeah.
yeah, of where we need to. Do
Well,
you
I was
celebrate?
I was raised with atheists, but we did have the Easter bunny dropping eggs and candy and stuff. So that was my big deal. When I think of Easter, I think of chocolate.
Okay, you the kids and the Easter eggs and getting together. Those, yeah, that would be
We never
very
went to church or anything like that. But
okay,
I could
part of
go to church with my friends.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
my
makes sense.
parents would buy us nice little Easter dresses and
Mm,
gloves. And
mm-hmm.
we get all
Oh,
spruced up. And if, like our girlfriend down the street, Kathy, she goes to All Saints Church, we'd go down there with her. And please, you guys, don't curse me, but I would accept. Um,
the yeah, the blood, yeah, the wafer and the
and
blood
I
is great.
wasn't Catholic,
No, it's
but I was hungry.
yeah. You're like, I want to know what it tastes like. It looks
After
like
he gave
candy.
me the cracker, the body of Jesus, like, can I have one more?
You were a child.
Oh
I think
my
Jesus
God,
Christ
I
would say it's
didn't know.
okay.
And my
You're
poor mother, who was Catholic and raised Catholic, but was out of the religion when I came home and told her, she just,
oh,
she
interesting. She probably
cringed.
was floored.
Yeah, that's like when we went to the school, we all stood in line to get our, they used to put it in little sugar cubes
Yes, yes,
for polio.
yeah.
And they'd give you one sugar cube. I remember wanting another one.
You're such a funny kid.
I know. I'm such a glutton.
It's kind of like when you go to the doctor's office, you'd be like, I want two lollipops, dentist.
Yeah.
Like,
More, please.
more,
More,
please.
please.
So you can redo this work in about 3 months. So yeah, okay, so I'm feeling, and I was with Deb Freebird last week, and we do this pick a card, and we both picked 10 of swords.
Oh,
And the
that's big. And it
yeah,
was
and
straight up, right? It
we
wasn't reversed.
no, and we both we just pick one tarot card. I pick a tarot card, she picks a tarot card, and the chances we both pick the same one, and this is we were reading on April, is 1.28%.
That happens
So,
occasionally with me. Yeah.
yeah, it's very, yeah, I know. It's so I want to say April is going to be this period of something acute, something shocking, but it's a new world is emerging in April. There's new timelines, new experiences, new breakthroughs. It's also on an individual level where you won't feel as stuck. One thing too, one about world news before we pivot over to astrology is I don't think Trump is being effective with his taco stock market strategies anymore.
Oh, he started that this morning, and
Yeah,
it kind of went up to 300
yeah,
points.
yeah.
And within a minute, Iran said he is not negotiating with any
And
of
then
us, and it dropped.
it went down already. Yeah, I think he said yesterday or this morning that he wants Iran to agree to a ceasefire or it's going to attack a desalination plant, which is a war crime to attack
Yeah,
a desalination
I,
plant.
Israel does it all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that. That's because it's the desert. You don't attack a water plant at the desert. Like, how do
Yeah.
people?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
And with the April,
Mhm.
is that energy of all those people that walked? It was more people than the last time, about
Hmm.
1 million more people.
I
The
think it's more than
world,
that.
the United States is wide awake, and other countries march too on
Yeah.
our behalf.
Yeah.
Trump tries to act like they're all paid. Yeah,
Hmm.
right, sucker.
Hmm.
But, and then he had an event, or someone, one of his cohorts had an event on his behalf, and he was livid because only 300 people showed up.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. It was like a month ago, right? Or like 2
No,
weeks
around
ago.
this time of the March.
Oh, oh, interesting. You
A
know, he
place
doesn't
that
even
seats
like.
1,600, 300 people showed.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, the Fox News yesterday released poll numbers, and I don't have the stat, but they did polls about popularity of Trump with the war, with inflation, with the economy, and the numbers of disapproval were in the 60s and 70s.
Yes.
And he apparently was so mad. I think he either went on Truth Social and yelled at Fox News, or he tried to dial in and call Fox News to remove the graphic because Linda, I don't think the polls are real. And I don't mean to be conspiratory, but they all seem to hit just the 33, 36 mark and
Yeah.
they never go below that.
I
Like
think
it's
he's way below that.
and it makes sense if they control the numbers, they can control him, right? So they
Yeah.
because he likes the numbers. So why would they not manipulate? I mean, if they manipulate the election, why would they not stop, manipulating the
He
poll
says
numbers?
my poll numbers are the best ever.
It's gosh.
But
I
yeah,
just
like you got a clean diety on as we speak.
yeah. His mommy told him.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel his tacoing with the stock market isn't going to work. So, folks, the stock market went down 10% since the beginning of the war. And I want to say April, I just, folks, I speculate the stock market will go where we start in April and where we end in April will still be lower. So, folks, just keep that in mind in terms of his tacoing is not going to hold. His ability to go on to Truth Social and say something and expect the market to go up and down. I don't think he's going to be able to do that
Let me
anymore. I
ask
think,
something. Let me
yeah,
pass something by you.
of
I know you
course.
said you're beginning stages of being psycho. But I think the fact that this stock market is dropping, and gas is going up will also affect him.
Yes, yes.
That's why I see I better end this war. And one way to
Mhm.
do it, I'll put boots on the ground and we'll take over these SOBs. And when that doesn't work, it backfires.
Yeah. I wish that wasn't his off ramp. It's like he really has to put his hand in the socket to know, which is like not to put your hand in the socket. So yeah, astrologically, let's talk about the end of the
Okay.
sport. So I astrologically see that it looks like by June we're not here anymore. There's something in June. Yeah,
Yay.
Trump's astrology is really nice in June. I don't and it's nice for him where it looks like he's not thinking about the war. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, if it's good for him, he's probably not in this war situation. What do you feel in terms of
Well,
exit?
it doesn't matter if he walks away or says and lies and says we came to a deal. The main thing is he wants to get out of it
He does.
and then go on his way. But he's just damaged himself beyond relief. It's like he's been in a big accident
Yeah.
and his arm is
Oh.
falling off and he's hoping nobody notices.
He's bandaging it and it's like, I can do it. I can still play
Yeah.
golf. Um, very, very interesting. So you're seeing more that he just wants to get out. Like in his energy, he just is like a child and he wants to get out of this as soon as possible.
Right. But he's also calling shots. He's not a military person. He has no business calling shots.
Yeah.
And then you know he's going to blame Hedgehog.
Yeah, of course. Of
I
course.
see him furious at Hedgehog, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he's the fall guy. You know, Iran was trying to get Vance to be part of the negotiations. Did you see that it was going to
No.
happen? No. Okay. Because I thought,
Well,
Iran is trying.
Pakistan is supposed to be helping, right?
Yeah, Pakistan is doing, I think it's supposed to be this week. They're going to hold talks or something like that. I think the G7 was saying, yeah, we support.
He wants to come up with something to get out of this.
Yeah.
He
But
bit off more than he could chew.
but Iran is going to walk out financially with this. Like they're going to ask for compensation. And I believe this is my hit, folks. I think Iran is going to own the strait afterwards.
I
They're going
do
to own the
too.
strait. Yep. And they're going to maybe
Although
do a
they don't
10%
know, the United, who owns
Emirates.
it now?
No one. No one actually owns
Yeah,
it.
it does. It
Oh,
was
it
on the
is?
news this morning.
Oh, I'm
Iran owns
sorry.
a little tiny piece of it,
Oh,
but
okay.
the UE or something like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I might have my wrong information. I thought no one
Yeah.
owned it. Okay. Oh, interesting.
Anyway, and they're going to charge, but they're letting China go right through. 10 ships can go through, no problemo.
Yeah, and I was saying one last thing before we go into April. A lot of Asian countries are going to run out of oil. Philippines are going to run out of oil in about 45 days. I believe Singapore in 25 days.
Wow.
Sri Lanka, Thailand, Vietnam, I think is 45 days. So there's a time limit. There's a clock in terms of how long this war can be when it
Yeah,
comes to the global environment. And Europe's energy's gone up 40%. We haven't, we've gone up, I think, 15-20% so far, but
yeah.
it's going to go up. Like it's just a matter of time before it trickles out to us here in the States. Um, so interesting. Okay, so for an exit though, for the war, do you see in the next few weeks, the next few months? I think you said earlier July.
I was, when Mel and I were doing the readings, I
Yeah.
saw the J, but it could be June too,
Oh, could
June
be
or
June.
July.
Okay. June or okay. Interesting. Hopefully not January. That would be.
No, no.
Okay, so let's get into the April astrology. And folks, I'm gonna just do a little bit more of a background on
Can I
me.
say one last thing?
Yeah, of
When
course,
I
yeah.
was doing with Mel, I saw those, what are those, like those rifle things that that point towards someone,
Oh, a target.
a
The little red
target.
target.
I
Yeah.
saw the targets on all the Trump family. I saw a target on
Oh, wow.
anybody in the Trump administration. So even when this is over, they're still having to run for their lives.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Oh, because of all the people that died. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no,
So,
they'll take their family too.
because Iran does not see, oh, this was a war because Linda supported Trump or supported Trump. They put all of it on Trump's
On
families.
Trump and his family.
Oh, wow. Well, that's, nice for us, but wow, that's
They will never be able to relax or be comfortable. They'll always have to look behind their back.
and look, okay. Because the family would like 10
Even
years from
with
now.
Trump gone, they're going to have to look behind. I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
Yeah.
it's vengeance is mine. That's what I'm hearing.
That's what you're feeling. Wow.
Okay, so
Wow.
go ahead.
Wow.
I'm dying
Okay,
to know
yeah.
about
No, thank
April.
you for sharing that hit. That's so and they have a large family. So many. I can't even imagine the Secret Service bill for that family. So folks, we're gonna get into April's predictions and actually before I get into um, April, let me just talk a little bit more background about myself, folks. I just want to pull back the veil a little bit and reveal kind of, a bit more of my background. A lot of you see me here, with Linda and with others talking about astrology, but astrology is just one thing I do. It's one, tool in my toolkit. I'm actually in the 3D world, in my regular world, like Linda was a nurse back in the day. In my regular world, I'm a design strategist. So I work with tech companies in the future space, which is why I was drawn to this YouTube community, why I was drawn to astrology, because I actually help companies divinate and manifest in a very 3D world and or 3D way. But in the 3D world, there's some fences, intellectual fences when it comes to woo-woo. They won't go that far. They'll stop right at the edge. But I dabbled a little bit as I was making new products and services. And so these are the companies I've worked with. I've over a decade, I've worked with many of these companies and got paid very little, but I have a really impressive portfolio in terms of projects and concepts, and my concepts have been made for millions. So this is a big part of my 3D world, and now I've been folding into this YouTube world of, well, what does this all mean? What does it mean to really predict the future and divinate? And I have my own approach of how I do that. But I'll talk a little bit more about some things I learned in my 3D world when it comes to April's astrology, because there's something with timelines and time that's going to be really important for us to be aware of in April. So, folks, I don't have a YouTube channel, but I have a newsletter, and I have a very precious newsletter that I send once a month. I find really beautiful images just to visually delight you as I'm explaining about woo-woo stuff that are, tangentially related. If you want to be part of this newsletter, just pull out your phone and scan this code, and then you'll be added to it. It's a very precious newsletter that I send out once a month. And I do a paradigm shift reading, but I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit at the end because I'm actually going to do a reading for all of you at the end so you can have a sense of what this means. But moving into April, and I'll have Linda, you pull cards on April, but should I tell you what the astrology is for April 1st, or do you want to pull
Yeah,
cards?
tell us.
Tell us. Okay, so April has two kind of themes. When you walk into April, tensions are high. It's hard to get along with people, I want to say, in April. It's like better just to go it alone. I know, Linda, you've said in the past, like one of the biggest advice you've had with people is don't rely on other people, just to rely on yourself and see how much more resourced yourself
Don't
you are on
realize
your own.
nothing outside of yourself will make you whole.
Yeah,
It
only
all
you
comes
can
from
make you.
within. Yeah.
That is the kernel of wisdom in April where we start. It's about calling your power back to you. It is about understanding where you're talented on your own and just starting things. It's not about permission slips. It's not about social acceptance. It's about just believing in your own energy and your own manifestation ability. So, the beginning of the month of April, you're going to learn to kind of learn that lesson to kind of go and trust yourself. We start with Venus squaring Pluto. So, relationship tensions are high. Both lunar events are in Libra and Aries, which are about being alone and being together. So, there's something about relationships for both lunar events. And then we have a lot of planets piling up in Aries, as you can see here. And so this is going to be also encouraging you to just go it alone. Just trust yourself. Just be a leader in your life and not ask for permission. So that's how we walk into April. And then as we get to the kind of the meat of April, we have, I can feel it energetically, but we have this like we start going from 45 miles per hour to 120. Just rockets flare. We are moving forward. We're having breakthrough energy, bold new starts, timeline jumps. Folks, if you're not familiar what a timeline jump is, that is when like Biden dropped out and Kamala became the nominee, and she experienced a timeline jump of a whole new reality that was available for her. And so there's something about starting new things. And it's very, very positive with this because there's something about being unstuck. So, in a weird way, Trump will be unstuck in this particular April. It may be in a bad way, what we're seeing in terms of perhaps sending the ground troops, but there's something about the second part, this beating heart of April of just doing something and seeing what's happening. You're going to have a lot of positive energy to kind of move forward because as all these planets move into Aries, when they get around here, they're going to sextile Pluto and they're going to sextile Uranus. So there's something about breakthrough energies, a whole new paradigm. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit too, in the way I would talk about it in my work in the 3D world. So folks, when we talk about 2026 as a whole, when we take a step back and we look at it as a whole, there are three peak moments that are going to happen when we look at the astrology. The first one is what we're about to approach, April 17th to 20th, because of where the planets are. The next one will be July 20th. It's a big kind of acute peak period. And the other one is the middle of November. So not election day, but a week after the election, there's going to be a whole new paradigm. And with this, there's going to be at these critical points, there's going to be a moment where you're on a particular timeline to future A, but during these critical points, there's going to be on ramps to another timeline. There's going to be new opportunities to a future B or a future C. And obviously, you want to see in your chart where Aries is so you can have a sense of what this is. So, Linda and I are Libra risings. So, that's our seventh house of partnership and connecting with other people. So there's going to be an opportunity in April for us to feel more seen and heard in our relationships. It might not necessarily be romantic relationships, but it's more about I see you, you see me, I show up for you, you show up for me, and it's more that reciprocity versus I'm carrying the weight and you're not carrying the weight, a bit of that. So there's something potentially new that we're going to have invitations for in April. But folks, you just want to know where April is in your chart. But with this energy, it's like about new starts and new beginnings. But let me go back before I go into the individual events of April. Linda, do you want to just pull cards as a whole
Yeah, I
for?
did.
Okay, go for it.
Well, it shows there's going to be some picking up the pieces and mourning taking place.
Okay.
So at some point in April, we had something that happened that is a little overwhelming. But because of this thing that happened, there's happiness, new beginnings, stress and bad news.
Mm.
But the outcome is the Six of Wands, which
Success.
means getting on the horse and moving forward. So the power of the people will be really solid then.
How interesting. So like something that happens that we don't like or will grieve, but then
Yeah,
the way we
some
respond.
grieving will take place.
Okay, but we respond in an empowering way. So there's
Yeah,
something.
we're riding the horse of success.
How interesting. Could we see that maybe Trump leaves
I
in
hope.
April? Oh my gosh, that could be the grieving. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not the
Well,
the
no,
troop
it could
soldiers.
be he did send boots on the ground and
Okay.
then he caused this terrible thing.
Okay, and then we're
Will
all being
Trump be
upset.
gone in April? Let me put that. Yes or no? Will Trump be gone in April? I see military talking to him. I see all kinds of you know, top brass
Mm.
and him kind of cowering. He's done something really stupid. And he's going to blame Hedgehog. So So it doesn't look like Trump's going to be dead, but he's a huge disappointment, as we know. And he might have to walk away, or they're telling and giving him an offer to walk away
Oh, wow.
in April.
Like, hey, this is, oh, wow.
They
Like it's an
just He
impeachable
keeps breaking
offense.
the Constitution and breaking it, and sits there and acts like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, interesting.
Anybody else would have.
No, I know. Obama. If Obama did that, it would be like, yeah, very, very interesting. So it's like he does a move, it doesn't go well, and they're telling him you can't do any more of this, it's going to get worse, and he has to
Yeah,
listen to them. Oh, interesting. Yeah,
I
which is
see
what,
him cowering like a child,
so maybe we
but
see
he's
the
pointing
retraction.
at Hedgehog.
He's pointing it ahead, like he made me do it. He said, of
Yeah,
course he would do that. Of course he would do that. Very,
gave
so
me bad intel.
he's the one that did it.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's interesting. He's not blaming Netanyahu. He's going to blame Hedgehog.
No, Netanyahu's about ready to go. I wish it would happen already.
You know, I feel like he's gonna go not because of an assassination. I think his health is not great. That's my
Or he gets taken in and removed because people in Israel want him out.
Yeah, they actually asked for an early vote. And it looks like if they do an early vote, I think it's called a snap vote.
Yeah.
If they do it, he won't win, and he's basically trying to stall it. He doesn't want
Yeah, because
the
he says we're at war, but
yeah.
no, they're not going to put up with it.
Oh my God. Do you think they would actually do the snap vote and they would remove him?
Oh, yeah. There's some coming up with him. Or
Okay.
if he refuses, somebody's going to take him. And that vision I had of somebody putting something over his head.
Okay. So if he refuses, they'll pull him out anyway. Because that's an easy way to end the war. If you just remove him,
Get him out. Yeah.
then there's no war. Because I mean, they're not, it's a media blackout, folks. I've seen like little hashtags on TikTok to find images. Tel Aviv is really impacted physically.
Yeah.
Like it's the town center buildings are, really damaged with, especially the north. They're not protected in the north at all.
And Iran keeps hitting him and hitting him and
Yeah.
hitting him.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Okay, so folks, we'll move into April. When it comes to war, it's these blue events is to pay attention to. And when it comes to a new threshold of war, I recommend April 17th, the 20th. Just pay attention what happens around that. That's kind of where we enter a new timeline of the war. And that could be what you're picking up, Linda, about the groups, the ground troops. Like maybe that's when he sends it. In terms of astrology for war, we have a Venus squaring Pluto. It's going to happen on the 3rd, this Friday. So folks, just not only with war, but in your own personal life, tensions will flare. You might feel more triggered by other people. Someone can say something the wrong way, and you just go, okay, don't come at me. Don't, road rage on the highway. Just be aware, just to,
And you
breathe.
know what?
Yeah.
It could even be a bunch of men on a ship doing mutiny on the Bounty. Like
Oh, yeah,
people,
exactly.
it
Yes.
could be military refusing. Some big event's going to occur. I feel it's with the military,
You
and
think
it
it's going to
makes Trump look really bad.
Okay, yeah, he's the leader of all of it. And then when it comes to April, we have Mars moving into Aries. Mars is war, Aries is war. They are both together. The last time Mars was in Aries was in 2024. I believe it was spring of 2024. So it takes about 2 years. So, folks, April will be a big climax, peak point of the war, of a new it's kind of outside the edges of our imagination. We can't even conceive it yet till we have Mars move into Aries. And then we have Mars conjunct Neptune. And there's something delusional about this. Neptune could be haze. Neptune is very much like Phoebe from Friends. Like she could be ditzy and dreamy and but connect with Mars. So this could be where Trump believes something with the war. Like he thinks he can have an advantage or he has some bad information. Someone is delusional. And Neptune also represents spirituality. So someone could start to declare something as a religious war. So we could start to see more language from Israel saying, hey, this is a holy war. We might start to see Trump all of a sudden saying it's a holy war, or Hegseth saying something really shady or kind of delusional will sort of happen around the 12th in terms of the language there. But then we move into this period, the 17th, 18th, 20th. This is going to be a peak event. We have a new moon in Aries, new beginnings, new starts. Aries is the beginning of the cardinal wheel. Very beautiful energy for a new beginning, new reality. While this happens, Mercury will sextile Pluto, your thoughts, transformation, communication, data. And then Mercury will conjunct Saturn and Mars in Aries. So That date, April 20th, is a very critical period. Something about data, information, and something about karma too, because Saturn's about karma. Saturn's about, eating your veggies now so you don't, your future self can have dessert. So something really big happens around that event when it comes to the war. And then we have obviously the full moon in Libra, so tensions are high. And then when we go into April, we have planets moving into Aries. So we have the pile up in Aries. And then, this is good news for you and I, Linda. We have Uranus moving into Gemini and staying there. Venus is going to join it too. So Venus and Uranus are holding their hands hand in hand, kind of walking into Gemini. Venus will soften Uranus into Gemini. But when Uranus goes into Gemini, it's not going back into Taurus. And it's good news for Linda and I because Taurus was our money house, eighth house of money. So there could have been some surprise bills the past 6 or 7 years. And so Aries too, Aries rising and Libra rising, folks, you're going to graduate from having money stuff. And then Gemini folks, prepared, you're going to have Uranus go through your house for the next 6 to 8 years. But Taurus folks, Taurus sons, congratulations, you survived. You had Uranus go through your house and you made it through. Folks, with this new moon, this new beginning, this is kind of what I was talking about, new timelines, new energy, new starts. So just be aware of this particular date, April 17th, before and after, whatever the news is about war and Trump, your personal life, going back to you, calling your energy back, calling your attention back. What do you want to start for you? What are new projects? What are new habits? What are new routines that you want to start for you that just do with you? Nobody else. And this is a great day to kind of start those new projects, starting a business, writing a book, relocating. There's something about the seeds are very fertile for you there. And this new moon is very good for us. Look at that. Beautiful sextiles and trines, new beginnings. Very bad for Trump. Both lunar events in April are very bad for Trump. There's something with he's kind of delusional. Look at all this is across his Neptune. Uranus is still squaring his Mars. He's super triggered. And then he has Jupiter. It's kind of like he's manic. That's kind of how I would describe it. April 17th, he's just like over the top. I mean, even his speeches recently, he like contradicts himself in 3 different times in 10 minutes or something like that. So, Tarot by the Bay did a really good post where he had a list of his, I think it was a social media repost, but he did timestamps and how many times Trump contradicted himself on a particular speech. And so, folks, with this new moon, it's a great time to start new things. It's a great time to tell the universe you want to start something new. And you don't have to have all the steps figured out, but so I recommend on that new moon day, April 17th, to start something new. Like go travel a route you never traveled before. Go to a restaurant you never traveled, purchased before. Make a recipe you haven't made before. And that's your invitation to the universe that you want to do something new. You don't want, the same old, same old. You're ready for a different lesson, a different experience. And so that's going to be really, really powerful for you. I talk about this too in my manifestation class. I have a 6/6 class coming up where we talk about that. But that's going to be really helpful for that type of energy for that new moon. So with that, I was going to say, I have also this for the full moon, folks. Just pause this if you want to read it. I'm not going to go into it deeper. This event is also not that great for Trump as well. But I'm curious, Linda, did you want to actually, did you pull cards for Trump's April as well? I guess you kind of
Yeah,
did.
I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, okay. Well, with that, I think I want to end on giving folks a bit of a personal reading about the paradigm shift. So I've read a lot of folks in the past kind of 2 years around this paradigm shift. We're in interesting times. Things are changing. The outer planets are all shifting at the same time. And it's that you are leaving a timeline. You were on a particular timeline for about 15 years and you're going to a new timeline. And with that, if you know your rising sign, so Linda and I are both the Libra risings, that's our first house. But if you know the element of your rising sign, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sample right now about what your paradigm shift is. And if you don't book it with me, find an astrologer in your life that can explain this to you because it's very positive. It's very, you're graduating, you're exiting an old era, a timeline, you're entering a new era and timeline. So folks who are a fire rising sign. So if you are a Sag rising, a Leo rising, or a Aries rising, your paradigm shift has to do with communication, thinking, has to do with community. And pulled three tarot cards, not randomly. I just picked the ones that best encompass it. So, folks that are fire signs, your paradigm shift has to do with thinking, learning, communication. It has to do with community, sharing those ideas with other people. And it also has to do with changing the sense of established knowledge. So you're going through something where your mind is expanding, but you're trying to share with other people and you're trying to change the status quo about what we believe to be true, what is information, and how do we relate to it. When it comes to water signs, so Cancer risings, Pisces risings, Scorpio risings, your particular experience with this paradigm shift is going deeper and mastering something. It's a bit of work and craft, but you're going deeper and you're going to areas and topics that people normally consider taboo. So you're willing to spelunk and go really into the depths of something that people would go, oh, that's too extreme. So your paradigm shift, the cards I have for you are High Priestess, you're going into the knowing, you're trusting your intuition. The Moon, you're working with ambiguity. And Eight of Pentacles, mastery. You're really trying to master something. This is not about you having five interests. This is about you picking one and going really, really deep into that. If you are a Earth sign, so Capricorn rising, Virgo rising, your daughter is a Virgo rising, and a what's the last one? Taurus rising. Sorry, folks, my brain is a little scattered. You're going through a shift of it's a work house, it's a work shift, but you're going through a shift of how to manipulate the material reality more, how to manifest, how to manipulate the world. And there's also a focus on the environment, on the community, on leaving a long-term legacy. So there's something about, am I doing something that's sustainable? Am I practicing earth medicine enough? Am I, doing something that honors nature and the rhythms of this particular world? And you're learning how to play in that space of working with earth magic a bit more. So your cards are Emperor. You're learning to really control and master something. Seven of Pentacles, you're really thinking about long term, planting seeds and working towards a more long-term sustainable route, but also the world. You're thinking about everyone. You're thinking about no one being left behind. So your focus is bigger, but it's more the material realm as opposed to thinking or your emotions or other things. And the last one is air signs, which is Linda and I. We're air signs, Libra risings, Aquarius risings, and Gemini risings. Your shift is about creativity, joy, and expanding your reality, expanding your mind. So you're actually having a very interesting creative era. You're feeling inspired, you're feeling passionate, but then you're also expanding what is possible in this world. And so your particular cards are the Magician, really manifesting new things, Ace of Wands, feeling very, very inspired, but also a new hope. You're actually bringing in new reality. You're very much anchored into what's the new future we need to call in and how do I manifest it and make it real. You're very creative. I honestly feel, and I could be biased, but you're going through a very creative time. Air signs are really accessing that creativity and passion in a way where they were a bit more distant and more removed from that. So, folks, that's a little sample of a paradigm shift. I thought folks would appreciate that because it's very amazing times that we're in. We're in a era where life is happening for us and not to us in different ways. So yeah.
Cool.
So Linda, that is April's energies and April predictions.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay.
So we'll hook up in May then, huh?
Yes. Hopefully once we make through
Can you
April.
give us a little open on May? How does May look? Better?
Yeah, I can actually do a little bit better. I can show you. Yeah, when it comes to May, we're integrating a lot of what occurred. Wow, we have three lunar events. That's a lot of integration for what occurred in April. Um, Something is being revealed in the darkness, so we're probably learning a bit more about what Trump knew and other things. There's something about new moon in Taurus. There's something maybe about the stock market. We're going to try to gain a footing. So I could even see in May the stock market starts to stabilize a bit more, where April it feels more like down, down, down. Does that make sense in terms of
Yeah.
like the variance? And then full moon in Sag, we are possibly something global of how we relate to information, how we connect with our global community. A lot of planets are in Taurus. Yeah, I think there's something with the focus of the stock market, what's real, what can we put our hands on. And then we also have a focus. Oh, Linda, you have Jupiter in Gemini. You're having a good month in May.
Oh,
You're gonna have Venus on top of your Jupiter. So it looks like May 20th. That's a if you feel called to buy a lotto ticket, buy a
buy it.
buy a lotto ticket. Yeah. There's a focus on being grounded the stock market, but also something with information. There's something about getting clarity about information, what's real, what's not. You know how right now we can't trust corporate media? There's a
No,
media
I know.
blackout. There's something in May where that might be a little bit better. There might be an improvement about what's really real versus what's this fog of war type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, girlfriend.
Of course, Linda. Thank you for having me here. And thank you, everyone in the audience. I just want to say one last thing, too. Folks, you know that Linda can do this because you can sort of do this as well. So
Yeah.
I've encountered so many folks where, I'm like, yeah, you have the ability too. Like you can, yeah. So I just want to thank our YouTube community here. We're very, very
They're
special.
great. They're
Yeah,
great
yeah.
people.
Awesome. Of course.
All right, sweetie.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye-bye.